Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Bravehearts. I'm really, really excited for today's episode of Brave in Action. We pre-plan some of these, not all of them. Some of them we pre-plan so that we can make sure we hit hot button content that we really want to share with you. Team Brave and I work really hard on it. And sometimes I do them off the cuff, depending on what I'm feeling and what's motivating me. And it just so happens that the one that we pre-planned for today is exactly where my heart and my mind and my soul is. And I am so excited to be here with you to talk about it and to connect with all of you. I'm going to give folks a couple minutes to join us. So quick recap for those of you who are maybe new to the group or new to me. My name is Heather Vickery. I am the creator here at Brave on Purpose. I'm an executive coach, transformational coach, success coach. My company is called Vickery & Co. And the core root of my business is Brave. I have a patented coaching method called the Brave Method. I teach a workshop that is coming up again. I teach it quarterly. It's coming up again here in March. I think it starts on March 16th, called the Brave Method Workshop. I'm going to tell you what that is all about. I host the Brave Files podcast. So the core, if you can tell, you see a theme here. The theme is Brave. The underlying root of all of the work that I do revolves around Brave. And remember that brave does not equal fearless. Brave, in fact, is greater than fearless. Fear is a natural human emotion. It's something that on occasion can save our lives. Choosing bravery in the face of fear, though, that is where we find out who we are and what we're actually capable of. And today's topic, we wrote reframing, but really what we're talking about is failing spectacularly. One of my favorite books is called Failing Up by Leslie Odom Jr. If you are a Broadway musical fan or a Hamilton fan, you will know who Leslie is. And if you don't get to know him, I listened to it. It was magical to listen to, but also probably amazing to read and write notes in. But failing up, the idea, and you've heard this before, this is not a new concept, right? It's not new to all of you to hear somebody say, oh, there's no such thing as failure. What it's hard to do, though, is to live that. It's hard to believe that there is no such thing as failure, that there is, in fact, always something to be gained, something to experience, something to know or learn from the things that we do that lead to failure. If we are not failing, we are not trying. We're not doing anything. And I want to, first of all, so we want to talk about the fact that words matter, but failure is not a bad word. Earlier this week, I shared a YouTube video with all of you. And if you have not checked it out by Gregory Zander, please go and check it out. I can put the link in the comments again. Please, please, please go and check it out. There are many, many wonderful, wonderful tidbits to come from that video. But one of my favorites, and I've actually been putting it into practice here this entire week. In fact, I've rewatched this video every single day this week. And I'm not new to the idea that failing up is spectacular, that we must experience in order to do better and grow. We must try things. But in that video, he suggests, and this is so impactful to me, that we simply change the way we feel and perceive about a failure. He said, what if instead of going, oh, I failed, and you kind of your head bumps down and you feel frustrated, what if instead of that, you went, oh, how fascinating, how fascinating. This did not go the way I thought it was going to go. Almost treat it like a science experiment. He doesn't say that, but that's how I feel about it. What can we learn from this? Oh, how fascinating. And this morning, my daughter couldn't find her mask. We're running out the door for school, and I'm upset because she's upset, and she's upset, and my other daughter's upset because we're running late, and so many things are happening. And we get in the car, and I say, oh, how fascinating, Scarlett, that we know that mask is somewhere, but we can't find it. We don't know where you put it. How fascinating. How fascinating that happened. Let's think about it. Let's look at it. What could we do differently next time so that we don't have this experience again? That's such a silly little example, but it's one that really connects with me. And if we choose, right, because so much of what we do, so much of the Brave methods, so much of how I coach and what I speak on, so much of what we act on here in Brave on Purpose is about choice. Do we choose to be creative? Do we choose to be brave? Do we choose to try new things? So if we choose to change what failure means to us, what can happen? How fascinating that can be. And then guess what? The people around you see you make those choices as well. The people around you think, perhaps I can try. Your children, your clients, your coworkers, your loved ones, your partner, your parents, your friends. Maybe I can try that. Always thought, I think I'm having internet connection issues, and I'm really, really sorry that that's happening. I legitimately don't know how to solve that problem right now. Maybe instead of letting our failures feel like we're broken, instead of thinking we have to tuck tail and hide, perhaps, and there's always something to learn. So we talked briefly a moment ago, I did, about BRAVE as an acronym. Well, BRAVE stands for boundaries, reassessment, reframing, resilience, action, accountability, vulnerability, and expand and empower. And this falls under the R, the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, and resilience. Reassessment is all about understanding what did not go the way you intended it to go. First thing I would want to know is that actually a bad thing? It didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Is that a bad thing or not? Because maybe it's not. Maybe we only think it's a bad thing because it didn't go the way we thought it would go. Maybe it's not bad. What did I learn from it? What do I want to do with the information that I learned? And then where am I going to take this? What am I going to do next? And then putting a new action in plan. That's the part where we reframe and we get resilient. Resilience is a number one indicator to whether or not a person will be successful. Resilience can be taught. And it simply means making a new plan and getting up and doing it again, doing it scared, doing it where you don't know how to do it all, but you will figure it out, putting yourself in there. If you are not failing, you are not trying. And also, can I just share with you that the people that you are here to serve, whoever those people are, they deserve to see from you that failure is part of the natural human experience. I do a lot of executive coaching for a very large accounting firm. And I work with some of the partners in the group. And in fact, I've worked with some people when they were on the ground floor and worked their way up to becoming partners, which is something I'm very pleased to do and proud of doing. And one of my clients, who is a partner at the firm now, came to me a couple of years ago. She's a young daughter. I have a problem with my daughter. She's afraid to make mistakes. She's afraid to fail. And I don't know how to help her. And I said, my dear, has she ever seen you acknowledge that you've made a mistake? Because obviously our children see us make mistakes all the time. Where it really matters is, have they seen you acknowledge making the mistake? Have you ever said, oh, I didn't do that right, or I didn't do that the way I wanted to do it, or that didn't turn out the way I anticipated? And she said, oh goodness, no. And I said, well, then how is she ever to learn that she can and will make mistakes and that that's okay? And it was like this wild light bulb moment for this thriving, high achieving corporate professional. Holy shit. When we acknowledge that our process is sometimes ugly and messy and painful and full of failures and faults, we give the people around us permission to be just as human. When we don't, we're letting everybody down. When we don't stand in our own vulnerability, we are causing harm to other people because we are stripping them of the gift of knowing that it's okay for them to be vulnerable with us and authentic with us and honest with us. We all fail. We all fail. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you learning from it? And how are you going to take it to the next level? How will you reframe it, right? And get up and make a new plan. And I thought this was a fun opportunity. I haven't read this to this group before. This book of poetry I have had since I was in middle school. And it's called Love Songs by Sarah Teasdale. It's a beautiful old poet. If anybody's familiar with her work, I would love for you to share that with me. Uh-oh, did I lose the page? But this is my favorite poem of all times. And I love poems. I love poetry. And this is spectacular. And it's called Faults. They came to tell your faults to me. They named them over, one by one. I laughed aloud when they were done. I knew them all so well before. Oh, they were blind, too blind to see. Your faults had made me love you more. Give people the opportunity to see you fuck it up. Give people the opportunity to see you make mistakes and fail and learn and get up and do something different. When we know better, we do better. You may try it and screw it up and try it again and screw it up and try it again and screw it up over and over and over again. That's okay. The gift is in the journey. The gift is in the learning. Give folks the opportunity to see your human side. And also, how fascinating it all is to live and experience and grow and learn and fail. Think about how you want to reframe that throughout your day. I challenge every one of you to move through your day, at least for the rest of the day today, and see how many opportunities you have to say, oh, how fascinating, instead of treating yourself like shit or being mad or being angry at yourself or somebody else. How fascinating, right? Who's there with me? Who is willing to try this and play this game? Samantha, we've got some comments. Samantha says, I was never allowed to make mistakes because my mistakes impacted my mother and she wouldn't have that. Well, so that is so interesting, Samantha, and I don't think that that's a unique story, unfortunately. But I wonder what kind of trauma your mother sits with or has sat with that she wasn't willing to learn from things as well. And also, who gets to define what a mistake is? Who gets to say what a mistake is? So a really good example, I share this in a different way, but in the Brave Method workshop, which we're doing again on March 16th, when I first created the Intentionally Brave Entrepreneurs program, my plan had been to enroll 30 people the very first time I opened the doors. And I had set all this groundwork and I had done all of these hard things and I had built something that didn't exist. I'd made the invisible visible. Was incredible. And then when the sales doors closed, I didn't have 30 people. I had 8. And for a moment, I felt very sorry for myself because I hadn't done it. I hadn't done what I'd set out to do. I hadn't reached my goal. I had failed. And then I thought, well, we've got 8 people who really want what I have to offer and what I'm providing. And I'm going to serve those 8 people with everything I've got. And then almost instantly, I got into this group, into this beautiful cohort, which was really a beta program back then. Now it's tried and true and always growing and getting better. And I thought, oh, this would have been so awful with 30 people. This could never, ever have worked the way that it works right now with 30 people. And I could never have imagined it the way that it's working right now if I hadn't gotten 8 people instead of 30. I was then able to take that and build something so much more spectacular than my original vision. So when I said earlier, is your failure a bad thing? If it didn't turn out the way you wanted, is that actually bad? Is it always bad? Sometimes it's bad, but it's not bad, right? As Samantha's a member of IBE, a 30-person cohort would have been awful, right? Would never have worked. But I didn't know that until I failed. And I built it back so much better. And we've been able to grow and get creative and try new things. And I'm so grateful that did not go the way I wanted it to. What a wonderful failing up experience for me and for me to be able to offer to everybody who's in the IBE program. Because now we know that individual cohorts where you build your own personal board of directors, where you show up and you show up messy and ugly and broken and full of faults and failure and also full of dreams and ideas and magic flowing through your veins. And these people, they have you. They love you. They inspire you, they challenge you, they engage and they push and they pull and they hold space, sacred, psychologically safe space for you, every one of you in this small group, right? And then you get to take that to a bigger group and bounce all of that off of one another. That was built from failure. We can do amazing things. It's how you reframe it, right? It's how you reassess it and reframe it and get up and do it again and do it better. That's what we're talking about. How fascinating, right? So who's with me? Who is going to go out for the rest of the day and look for the opportunities? Seek them out to go, oh, how fascinating. I baked those cookies and they came out different than I thought they would. How fascinating. What did I do wrong? Or what did I maybe accidentally do right? I mean, we all know how chocolate chip cookies were invented, right? They were a fucking mistake. Chocolate chip cookies were a mistake. Oh, y'all, I'm so excited. If you haven't watched the video, go watch it. I want to hear how you are failing forward. I want to hear all of your how fascinating moments. So come back here and share them. But remember that words matter. So when you share them here in Brave on Purpose, my dear Bravehearts, when you share your how fascinating moments with us, I want you to be conscious about framing them in such a way that they are in fact fascinating, that they are not self-deprecating, that they are not harmful, that they are not negative, painful words. Tell us what you've learned that you can do something with. How fascinating. I adore you all. It is my honor and pleasure to be on this journey with you. Go out today and every day, please, and choose bravely. This is Heather Vickery. I will see you next Wednesday for Brave in Action. Have a great day. Bye.